I bet you don't know what it costs to sell your home today. It's probably been a while since you last sold a house, so you're going to be shocked about the cost of selling. It's crazy. And you, seller, carry the majority of the costs. All right, you know you're going to have to pay your listing agent a compensation. It's a significant amount, so please select a seasoned agent who's going to guide you through the entire process, from soup to nuts, from listing to closing. Now, this gets complicated a little bit. In August of 2024, real estate law changed, and agents who list homes cannot post the buyer agent compensation in the MLS like it had been done for years and years. And there's more. Buyers who are represented by a real estate agent must sign a broker buyer compensation agreement, which states that during the duration they work together, the buyer agrees his agent will be compensated either by a percentage or a flat fee of the sale price. This broker buyer agreement must be signed by every real estate agent the buyer works with. Once that agreement is signed, the buyer's agent can show them properties. Now, they can't show them properties without this signed agreement. Actually, the agreement makes sense. It makes the buyer aware that their agent's compensation is no longer the seller obligation. Now, this compensation can be paid by the seller, or it can be split between the seller and the buyer. But the buyer is well aware that if the seller won't pay the compensation and that buyer really wants that house, he's going to have to cough up that commission, that compensation. So when the buyer sees a property that they want to make an offer on, let's say it's your home, his agent will state his compensation in the purchase agreement. Now, you, seller, aren't obligated to pay that compensation. You can say no to it in your counteroffer, or you can say that you want to pay only a portion of it. It's totally up to you. You have no obligation to pay a buyer's agent. But let me tell you, in a slow market, it's probably best to pay all of it, some of it, or just negotiate the compensation with the agent that they will accept. Now, keep in mind, everything is negotiable. Hopefully, you have a seasoned real estate agent who will guide you through the finer points of the offer. Personally, I haven't had much resistance from sellers about buyer agent compensation. Although I did receive an offer from a buyer's agent, which stated in the purchase offer that she would take a specific percentage of the sale price. Now, my seller didn't want to pay it. My seller said absolutely no, thought it was way too much. I relayed this to the buyer agent, who said to me, but your seller must pay this percentage. I reminded her that my seller was not liable to pay for it. She became a little hysterical and threatened to not proceed with the deal. Unfortunately for her, she didn't really have a close relationship with her buyers, and that buyer wanted that property. He just didn't want to take money out of his pocket to pay her commission. It was a pity. He signed the buyer broker agreement, agreeing to pay his agent. I guess he didn't take it seriously, or his agent didn't explain it to him. Now, the offer was a decent offer. We were in a slow market, so I suggested to my seller we pay 0.5% less in the buyer compensation and take care of all of the repairs and close escrow sooner so it accommodated the buyer's time frame. After a little back and forth, the buyer agent reduced her compensation. The seller paid for the repairs, and escrow closed at a date that pleased the buyer. After all the negotiations, my seller netted more money in the way we structured the sale. My seller was very happy, and the buyers were very happy. They didn't have to pay out of pocket for their agent's compensation, and the agent received a very decent compensation. It was a win win situation. So do yourself a favor. Don't select an agent who works at a great discount. You need an agent who knows how to negotiate the price and the terms of your sale. You want to net the most money in the end. Agents who greatly discount their compensation fees probably don't have the skills you deserve in selling your home. And now, this is important. Have your agent give you a net cost estimate sheet before you contract. This gives you all the costs you're going to have to pay in escrow. Things like county taxes, HOA fees, agent compensation fees, title fees, escrow fees, recording fees, franchise fees, and payoffs to your mortgage loan if you have a mortgage loan. Yeah, those are a lot of fees. And these fees will cut into your sale proceeds. You need to know these costs before you sign a listing agreement. You want to know what money you can count on from your sale proceeds. Moving costs is another surprise. And moving is stressful. We all know that. Moving companies aren't cheap. They're not cheap whether you move from one state to another or the city to another, or even if you're moving a block away. I suggest you call a few companies and have them give you estimates and their booking schedules. Make sure they can move you on the day you need to move. But what if you need to store your furniture after you close escrow? I know that personally. In one of my moves, I had my movers put all of my furniture and boxes in my garage because I had workers scheduled to do some work inside the house before I moved in. All my stuff was inside that garage for 3 or more months. Now, I saved 3 months of storage fees, but still, I needed movers to move the furniture from the garage into my house. That was another expense. Ugh. Okay, if you have strong young kids, maybe you can get them to help you. It'll save you money. Before your house goes in the MLS, do yourself a favor and do the necessary repairs because I'm telling you, the buyer's home inspector will find all of these repairs. Maybe you have a leaking faucet or a sliding door or window that doesn't open and close easily. There are so many things in our homes that we just overlook and just live with them, but buyers won't. Replace that dirty and worn out carpet. Replace the cracked and broken floor tiles. Clean your windows. Make sure all the electrical outlets are working and are GFCIs in the kitchen, bathrooms, and laundry rooms. Replace burned out ceiling bulbs. Paint over that brown wall you thought looked so good 15 years ago. And don't forget the outside. Tear out all those dead old plants and shrubs. Power wash the concrete so it looks good. Now, you can do all these repairs yourself, but at this stage of your life, why break your back? Your time is more valuable, and so's your back. Hire a handyman and a gardener to fine tune your place. So once you've beautified your home, get it ready to have it professionally photographed. Don't photograph your home with your cell phone, no matter how great you think your phone's camera is. And don't allow your agent to photograph it with his or her cell phone. Professional home photographers are worth it. I've had sellers tell me their house looked better in pictures than it did in real life. That's because the photographer knew how to use angles and lighting to emphasize the room and the furniture and also the outside of the house. For those who don't know me, I'm Darlene Harwick, Realtor for the desert resort cities of Palm Springs, Rancho Mirage, Palm Desert, La Quinta, and Indio. All right, let's get back into it. Now, it's showtime. You've made sure your house looks like a model home. In other words, looks like nobody lives in your house. Your agent schedules an open house. You arrange for you and your dog or your cat to have some place to be for the 2 or 3 hours for the open house. When the open house is over, you return and your agent says there were only a couple of people who stopped by and they all lived down the street from you. It happens. It's a pain, but you must be ready to have your house shown anytime, even in evenings and weekends. Now, agents generally won't bring buyers to your home after it gets dark unless they have a buyer who is super serious and want to see how the house looks and the yard looks when at night when all the landscape lights are on. I know that showings take up your time. You have to put away the dirty dishes. You have to straighten up the bedding, turn on the lamps. Again, make it look like a model home. Then you find out that the showing that was scheduled for 1 o'clock was pushed back to 2 o'clock, or the agent cancels the showing altogether. You've done all this prepping, and now this cancellation has disrupted your entire day, your entire routine. Please don't hang out at the house when it's being shown. It makes buyers really nervous. Give them some space. You want them to take some time to visualize them living in your beautiful home. Here's today's reality. Gone are the days when homes sell within a week. If you have neighbors who sold a few years ago within a week after listing it, well, congrats to them. With the exception, your house is going to be on the market for about 75 days or longer. I know this. Buyers are going to pick your house apart. They will hire a home inspector who will go through your home with a fine-tooth comb. But that's their job. Most home inspection reports will list at least 50 or more items and looks like a book instead of a report. Be prepared. Now, a home inspector doesn't go up on your roof, but will look in your attic. I've had a home inspection where the inspector did look at the trusses in the attic and found they weren't structurally sound. Buyers don't want to buy a house with issues in the trusses in the attic. My seller paid for the trusses to be corrected. It really wasn't a big expense, and it made the buyers very happy, and they proceeded with the sale. Now, buyers have 17 days to conduct inspections if they will be getting a mortgage loan. It's usually about 10 days or less if it's a cash buyer. Now, this is called a contingency. This is called a contingency. The sale is contingent upon the buyers receiving inspection reports before they agree to purchase the house. This gives the buyer some time to accept or negotiate the issues discovered in those reports. Or they can just walk away from the house completely, walk away from the deal. So not only will they pay for a home inspection, but they may also bring in a roof inspector, a pool inspector, an HVAC inspector, a sewer line inspector. I had a buyer who put in an offer for a home with a septic tank. Well, the inspector wrote up in his report that the septic tank had not been replaced for a long time. It was seeping and needed a new tank. Now, this is a great expense. My buyers demanded the seller pay for this tank, or they'd walk away from their offer. The seller balked, but in the end agreed to pay for the new tank. Remember, the buyer can bring in any kind of inspectors within the agreed amount of time of the contingency time frame. So what happens if the roof inspector says your roof is a goner and your house needs a new one? A new roof is really expensive. If you know your roof is worn out, you should call in a roof inspector before listing it on the market. You should get maybe 3 different roof inspectors to look at your roof. Have them tell you if you need a new one or if it can be repaired. At this point, you know the costs. Whatever the inspection says, I say repair or replace it before it goes on the market. or give a credit in escrow to the buyers. Be prepared for repairs. If your major repairs like a new septic tank or a new roof, do it before you list. If not, cover the cost with a credit in escrow. Like I said, the home inspection report has many items noted for repair. Many of them are minor. You don't have to agree to repair any or all of them. Again, this is where a seasoned agent can negotiate the repairs on your behalf. In my area, it's common to sell a house completely furnished, even turnkey. And that includes the dishes, the linens, the beddings, everything. Everything. Buyers may or may not want all of your furniture, no matter how much you had paid for them. Lenders don't acknowledge furnishings because they're private property and cannot be written in the mortgage loan. So, furniture can be a problem. Don't throw a wrench in the monkey works because the buyer may not want some or all of your furniture. You can give away your furniture to your family and friends, or you can even donate it. Well, I know that's a lot to absorb. I have a great link below that you can get my free guide to the real costs of selling a home. Now, here's another video I think you're really gonna like.